And according to YouTube, we are live. Live with Clyde. I am Mark Goldberg, and you are Clyde. Is that correct, Clyde?
I am Clive. I'm the rancher.
Well, thank you all for joining us. There are hundreds of you in here today. I'm taking steps to protect the wristwatch check here until we get to it, which we will do fairly shortly. Clyde, can you believe it? There are already like 350 viewers in our little room here. Can you imagine that?
Not with your channel. You're quite popular, Mark.
And of course, Val and Gray Moon in with the first fist in the comments. Welcome, Valen and Blue Shirt Buddha and Austin Stewart and Blue Shirt.
Now, believe it or not, Austin is one of my local guys.
Is
He's
he?
on the local hub road. Hey, Austin, were you there? Were you there Thursday night over at what is this? Was it SoCal or whatever?
The whatnot, the dewdrop in, the come on in. What are the local watering holes there, Clyde? I'm sure you're plugged into local.
There's plenty of variants.
But of course, you've got your 30-year chip, ignoring the variant theme. Clyde, I just read a news story today that this happened today in Oklahoma. An adult soccer league. Somebody objected to the referee's red card. A scuffle ensued. The referee ran to his car, retrieved a pistol, and took a shot at the offending player. Missed him, but the shot went like towards the crowd. Apparently, nobody shot, but the referee arrested immediately after the incident. So I'm saying,
I find that difficult to believe. I mean, soccer in Oklahoma.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's, of course, the hardest part of all. So, Clyde, what I'm saying is, everybody knows, of course, Clyde for the defense. If you take a pot shot in front of an entire crowd of witnesses, you need Clyde on your side to get out of that one. So, I don't know, Clyde, what would you say? Is that a, potential crime of passion? Do we use the insanity defense? Maybe he had a bad burrito. Is there such a thing? Has the burrito defense ever been attempted in your state?
Not really. But I think we could claim that he tried to recently convert to being a vegetarian, and no Oklahoma jury would convict him.
You know what? That's a fair point. What if that player was a vegan?
Exactly.
If we could prove that, then I think he's off. Well, Clyde, you know your state. You definitely know your state. So,
people seem to think, are there a lot of guns here in the flyover state? Well, actually, when you're born here in the flyover state, they give you a pistol along with your birth certificate.
You're right.
Now, on the other hand, if you're a pacifist, they load the pistol with blanks.
How nice of them. I've been to New Zealand, where apparently there are more sheep than people, and which is thus the slogan "Welcome to New Zealand, where men are men and sheep are nervous." But I imagine there's more guns than there are people in Oklahoma. But hey, Illinois is not the Second Amendment is for everybody, people. Lest you even liberal Democrats, hey, have enjoy our Second Amendment protection. Okay, Clyde. Well, that's enough about this silly kind of a stuff here. What I think that we ought to talk about now is the way I titled this particular live stream is: Has Mark finally gotten tired of Rolex? And although I want to discuss that first, I kind of want to throw it to you because, Clyde, I know you appreciate a Rolex. You've got a couple, or you've had many over the years, but you are constantly showing me new watch acquisitions, and they are never Rolex. You have moved far beyond the Rolex brand. So tell me, what do you think of the current state of the art where the Rolex fanboys? Clyde, what do you think of us? Just give me your feedback a little bit on the brand and how you've moved beyond it, and then I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing on the other wrist.
Oh, I'm sure it's a Rolex of some sort. But then again, you have been moving away. You actually okay. Now there's another watch. I'm friends with two watch channels, and they hate each other. I mean, they hate each other. And,
I dare to, but wait, Clyde, hold on, stop there. I can't imagine that there are multiple YouTube users who just don't like each other. How could that possibly be? This watch community is so kumbaya, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. But I was telling this other person that you found about this new Parmigiani Florier. this new
yeah.
Chronograph GT. And he's like, wow, where? I said, you're going to hate life when I tell you who discovered this.
To me. Yeah. You know what? If I figure out how to, if I figure out how to share that over here, I'll do it. It's a beautiful chronograph, Panda scheme, definitely unlike the Zenith, which is heavily influenced, shall we say, by Zenith. Heavily, what?
It's a chronograph annual calendar.
So but its design cues do not resemble the Rolex Panda Daytona. It has a Panda dial scheme, right? But it is not influenced by the Rolex in the same way that the Zenith is, and it has all those complications, and it's gorgeous. Clyde, I never got to find out what the MSRP is on that Parmigiani. That's incredible. That watch is available for like a little more than half.
For half price?
Well, no, for half the price of the Rolex Daytona on the gray market.
Yeah, and I would seriously look at that. I would consider that watch at that price with those complications, and especially from that brand. Parmigiani is certainly nothing to sneeze at, and they make some really, really great watches.
The terrible thing is you just can't spell it. I mean, Parmigiani Fleurier. I'm guessing you can spell Parmigiani because you're in Italian restaurants so often, but Fleurier is a little bit tough. Let's just get to a couple quick comments and then we will resume our discussion. Da Machine in the house. Speaking of Rolex fanboy, biggest Rolex fanboy I've ever met in my life. He makes me look like an amateur. How many do you have, Da Machine? Do you know? Put a number up. Best guess, because I know you don't know exactly. Best guess. Nate O, welcome to the program. Welcome to the show. How could any YouTuber really hate each other? I don't know. Ask Clyde.
Now, you see, Austin, if you were there, you could have seen the watches that I've recently acquired that I really don't talk about online.
He has, you got a lot. Clyde has a lot that is.
And I'm still making some moves.
He will only reveal under the penalty of super chats. Nate, black GMT. No, I do not miss it. I don't miss that, and I do not miss my. If I was going to miss either of the GMTs I had, the ceramic Rolex GMTs, it would have been the Batman. But it turns out I am just not a GMT guy. I don't like those bezels where they click over in 5-minute increments in order to run your 24-hour bezel. Yeah, no, useless. I don't like them, and I will never buy another GMT, not from Rolex.
The only thing that you don't like being by is your bezels.
Parmigiani is a great brand with an interesting history. The watchmaker is excellent. I think that is true. Da Machine has considered it. The only problem is Da Machine, every time you think you're going to go buy one, there's just no room in your safety deposit box because it's stuffed with like 17 of everything that Rolex has ever made. And Da Machine says he's got 45 to 50. And I knew, Da Machine, I knew you would not have it. Yeah, but I knew he would not have the exact number. Because there are people like Clyde. I feel like you are a very detail-oriented person. Bug spray, really buggy out here. Clyde, I feel like you know exactly how many watches grand total you have. Am I correct? Do you know really? No.
None.
Well, then you like myself and Da Machine, you are a true watch collector. We don't want to know. We'd rather not. We would rather not know because it might bother us. Anyway, Clyde, I will try and figure out later in this broadcast how to show that watch because it's truly gorgeous. Yeah. You know what? Maybe I could just look. I'm just going to do it the cheap and easy way. Give me a second because I sent a picture of it to you. Here it is. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Hang on. Let me. I don't know how to I'm going to make myself large, and I'm going to show it right there. I mean, look at that. It's an annual calendar. It's got the Panda design, but you're not going to confuse it for Rolex.
To the right.
Right.
Move to your right. Move to your right. Right there. Now move to your left.
All right, hold on. Let me find another picture. I might have another one. Yeah, I do. I hate you so much. Here you have a good look at the pushers. Like that is truly beautiful. And as you can see in the description there, this is taken right from the Instagram of my friends over at Exquisite Timepieces at exquisitetimepieces.com, Naples, Florida. My favorite. They got bricks and mortar, but they also have a They are ADs for 50 brands, Clyde, including the Parmigiani. And Nick over there, Nick is my guy. So get a hold of Nick at exquisitetimepieces.com. But I think this is an incredible watch, Clyde, and $21,000. It's an annual calendar chronograph by I don't know, what do you call them? Like an individual watchmaker? Like, how do we describe somebody like FP Journe or Parmigiani, where these things are
independent?
Yeah, so they're these are like hand built, hand constructed. Is that fair?
A lot of it is. But actually, do you have any watches that are hand built or handmade entirely?
Do I? No, everything I own is giantly mass produced, like on assembly lines.
Okay.
I mean, even what I'm wearing now, which I will reveal before too much longer. Blue Shirt says it's nice, and it is. It is it's a beautiful thing.
But it's not handmade.
Well, look, Rolex. Let's talk about Rolex for a quick second. Speaking of not hand,
how much extra are you willing to pay for hand finishing?
I mean, listen, I don't really think I am a horologist. I am a horologist. And there's a subtle difference in the spelling, the WH versus the HAUT, HAUT. So I have this weird thing where, although I appreciate the horology inside the case, for me, brand cachet, robustness, value retention, those things count almost equally to the level of horology. And Rolex is not very high in horology, certainly higher than, they have been higher than Oris, and I think you could make the argument even than Omega. But they really have is a reputation, a cachet. It's an aspirational quality. They're made completely out of 104 unobtainium. So what's really driving the market behind Rolex certainly isn't the quality of their engraving. They don't even show you what's inside because it's very industrial and ugly. It has completely to do with scarcity, supply, and demand.
Well, and that's right. With the Cellini watches, those are dress watches, and Rolex puts solid precious metal case backs on them. They're not doing that. I mean, they're also cheap and nasty to a certain degree. So
Rolex is very, very smart about maximizing profit and potential, which makes me wonder why they're doing what they are doing right now. I mean, look, it's one of two things: the giant Rolex shortage, which is driving not just boredom with the brand, but anger. So many people that I talk to who like the brand are just angry at it, and they don't know if they're angry at the AD, the manufacturer, both. They're just angry at the whole, anything that says Rolex that just pisses people off lately. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that you cannot get them at retail, and the gray market has gone absolutely stupid. So everything on the gray market is between 2 and 4 times retail. It's just it's an impossible situation. Meantime, Rolex keeps advertising. So here's the question, Clyde: are they making them, and they're just holding them back from delivery? Are they making them and feeding them straight into the gray market, or is there something going on at the factory where they just slowed it down and they're not? What do you think?
Sound check. You hear me?
I hear you. I hear you.
There's a couple of people saying, "Please turn up my volume a little bit."
But I don't know how to do that. So I have no control over your volume. This happened last time that we did a stream, Clyde Z, so I have a feeling it's something.
I did just now. That's why I took matters into my own hands, much like my love life.
I'll take your matters into your own hands.
No. I'll keep my matters in my own hands. Thank you very much. But
you're welcome. Tell me, Clyde, what's with the brand? Are they holding back, or are they just not delivering to the ADs? What are they doing?
There's no way of telling. It could be production is, they're concerned about, they're concerned about the people that work there, because they have highly trained people, and they want to keep them alive. So they're not going to cram them in a factory and watch them all kill over and die. It could also be AD fuckery, frankly.
Yeah, well, could be a combination of those. Look, Rolex was forced to close down last year. It went about 6 weeks, maybe it was 8 weeks, but that definitely caused a shortage. They were closed down by the government there. They are really in Switzerland. I forget the name. In the United States, small local county government is what we call it. County government. Say it again. Canton. That's exactly right. Yeah. So the cantons in the cantonais, however you.
Or it's wontons. It's so one of the two.
The cantons in Switzerland are small local government units, right? And they're very powerful. And they shut Rolex down. The canton of Rolex shut it down. Rolex asked for permission to open it early. They were denied. And however, they were permitted to send like a team in hazmat suits because there were a bunch of watches that were post-production. They were tested. They were through the chronometer testing or whatever it is they do to them. And they were ready for shipment. And they were just locked up in the vaults. So they were able to get a spurt of watches out, if you will, but then they remained closed for quite a while. But I believe they're up to full production now. So the question is, where are those watches going? They're either slowed down the assembly line for some reason, or they're building up inventory, or they're sending them someplace that we don't know about. And nobody seems to know about this. I don't think they're going to the ADs. This is just what I think. And the reason is I have talked to ADs all over the West. And by West, I mean United States, Europe, Canada, Mexico, in these areas, the islands. These ADs are universally reporting fewer deliveries and skimpier deliveries. So maybe into the East, into Asia. You know, look, I have a source in Thailand who is well plugged in. That this person shall remain nameless for his own protection. But he has been informed very bluntly by one of the primary ADs in Bangkok that all Rolex is going directly out to the gray market and that he can't buy one. And he has a buying history with this AD. He also purchased a couple of Tudors direct from the AD, and they won't sell him. They won't sell him Tudors anymore because they're pumping those right into the gray market. And they told him so. That's absolute blatant AD fuckery. Some of that's happening in the United States. We know that. There's no question about that, but there's lawsuits and nasty things going on around that. We can't mention names. We won't. But what we know is some ADs are making hay while the sun shines. Others are trying to do the right thing.
Yes, we will mention names. Brian, Janice, Steve,
Bruce, Chad, Ethel.
No. Leave Chad out of this.
Yeah. Well, listen, actually, Clyde, speaking of good ADs, mine called me the other day, and said, listen, we didn't forget you. You're still on the list for the Panda. Just well, let me finish the thought, and then I'm gonna throw it to you. The Panda Daytona, which I've been waiting for pushing 2 years now. They said we would have had it by now, and I would have had it by now, except for supply has just gone down to like almost nothing. But the next one they get is going to be for me, so that has me a little excited. So am I irritated by these weights and the unobtainableness? Of course I am, but I also know that there's ADs out there struggling to sell watches, which is what they what they want to do. So Clyde, I feel like you gave up on Rolex a long time ago. Is that an accurate investment?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah. I have not fully given up on the brand, but I bought something else, and I'm going to show it to you guys in just a couple of minutes. Brian Lynn, Mark.
I think someone needs to super chat to see that. This, and like I said, you've been making some moves, Mark. I'm actually, instead of viewing you as just another Rolex whore, I'm actually starting to see you as like a real collector.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. But you know what gave you the? Oh, I know, it's what I'm wearing because I bought something non Rolex that you finally have a little appreciation.
No, and you informed me about the freaking Parmigiani.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Fair point. From exquisitettimepieces.com. The Real Fly has thrown $1.99 at us, and Clyde, he'd like to ask you if he should hold on to his wife's Datejust 36 Wimbledon or if he should sell it now.
If you've fallen out of love with it, now's the time to get out.
It's his wife's. Are you talking about if you fell out of love with her or with the watch?
Why are you getting the wife part? Should I hold my DJ 36 Wimbledon or sell now? I don't know where you're getting the wife.
You're right. I don't know why I saw. Well, maybe you know what happened, Clyde. I saw 36 millimeter, and I assumed it was. I assumed it was a lady's watch. Well, all right, Clyde makes a good point, and that's always an appropriate point, right? If you don't love it, sell it. My point of view would be a little bit different. Blue Shirt Budo, type into the comments your opinion on selling Rolex. So Blue Shirt, I want you to type your opinion up here into the comments. But I'm pretty sure I know what he's going to say, and it's going to say, "Don't sell Rolex" in giant capital letters, with a bunch of exclamation points. And the reason that he's going to say that, I'm just waiting. But if he's listening to us, I know he'll type exactly that. But the reason that Blue Shirt is going to say that is you won't be able to buy it again. So the question becomes, do you want to just get the maximum dollar value for that watch? In other words, is it a matter of the head or the heart? If it's 100% a mercenary view, you have, right? Heart. And Valen says, sell it for a profit. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, you were offered it at retail. You don't love it, and you were offered it at retail, and you had to. Well, I made a whole video on that. If you were offered anything at retail by the AD, buy it, right? So, Real Fly, tell us, how long have you had it? Okay, because if you've had it 6 months or more, then I think you're okay to sell it. If you've had it less than 6 months, don't sell it, or that AD will never sell you again. Okay, how will they know? Unless you do private party to your brother-in-law, that serial number is going to eventually appear someplace. And they may get a call from their rep saying, who's this? Why are you selling watches to people who don't love them? Right. So this is the kind of nonsense that's going on right now. Craig Shit says, hold on to the dogs of the range like the Sea Dweller 43 millimeters. Sell the hyped watches if you don't love them. Blue Shirt would not let me sell my SD43. And now I'm glad I didn't. Because you know what's going to happen? One day they're going to take that line of red off of there, and the thing's going to become $50,000. Unless I sell it. If I sell it, that'll happen. If I hold it, it won't. Had it for a month. Don't do it. Hold on to it. Unless you don't care about that relationship with the AD. And an AD relationship right now is impossible to get. And they called you for a really difficult watch. So I would just hold that watch for like another 6-7 months if you then sell it then, but I wouldn't do that right now. Okie doke. Clyde, Domain Admin has a song that he'd like you to sing, and I'm sure you're going to demand money to do that, but hey, this is a venue where we treat everybody alike, so do you feel like singing?
If there's super chats.
I know it. I knew you, Clyde. All right, well, we'll come back to it if there's a super chat. It would be horn free. Sung to the tune.
I know. No, you don't have to. Yeah, I got it.
It was for the guys. I know you know.
Oh yeah, that was like that was like Thanksgiving. That was always on Thanksgiving. Like it's like public access or whatever because the copyrights. So yeah, they'd always.
Craig, shit, I got to tell you something. An AD relationship means less than nothing now for most of us. No, it should mean more than anything now, right? And the reason for that is. There's so few people have one anymore. So if you, and obviously Real to be Steel, he has an AD relationship because a month ago he was offered at MSRP a very desirable watch. So not everybody, it's very, very hard to establish an AD relationship right now. They're almost not looking to make new ones. Yeah. And I think it's because they can barely satisfy their current customers. And they're very worried that people they don't know will just flip watches. And if they get caught by Rolex selling to flippers, this is the ironic thing. The good AD is more careful now than ever. The bad AD didn't care then, and they don't care now. So I hope the bad ones all lose their contracts.
I'll put it this way. I'm sick to death about Rolex. I'm even sick to death about talking about Rolex. It's like an abusive relationship.
Well, thanks for joining the live stream called "Is Marc Tired of Rolex?" Okay, Clyde. Well, let's go ahead and reveal before we reveal, but we're going to reveal right now. But here's the deal. Am I tired of Rolex? No, but they are so few and far between to be had that I'm expanding my horizons beyond Rolex a little bit into things that I think I will love and cherish and enjoy in the off chance that there's just no more Rolex to be had. My AD would really like to supply me eventually with that Panda, but like, what if they don't see one for another year or a year and a half? That's entirely possible. Okay, Clyde, this is what I purchased. Let me hold this up. I'm going to turn it right side up for the guys in a moment or two. I'm losing light, fellas. I'm outside at dusk. Anyway, what this is, guys, is this is a Glashütte Original panorama date. It's 43 millimeters wide. You know, in theory, it's fairly thick.
That's supposed to CQ.
That is the CQ. Yes, it's also known as the CQ panorama date.
All right.
Correct. Made by Glashütte Original. Now, it's a sizable watch at 43, but what's that, Glenn?
Give a hoot. Don't Glashütte.
But its lug to lug is a little short. I don't remember what it is, like maybe around 50. So it doesn't present as big as its dimensions would indicate. Now, it is a little bit thick at, I think, 15.3. But a lot of that thickness is glass, because look at the, this is a double domed crystal. So it's sticking up a couple of millimeters, but it's glass. So, you know, it's not like wearing the thickness of metal. And then check out the display case, Clydesy. Talk about decorating.
Yeah. You mean the display back?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Clyde's here to translate for my limited English skills.
Nice.
Very, very pretty. Obviously in-house, highly decorated. That the weight, as you can see, the double J's there. Sorry about the glare. Yeah. The double J's. That's 21 karat gold on that rotor. The screws are all thermally blued. It's got a 5-day power reserve single barrel. So it's a massive mainspring spring, but it's made out of silicon, so it's highly resistant to magnetism. And as you can, this is the one thing I just don't understand about this watch. Look at the sapphire crystal on the case back. It's domed. Okay, so so it's protruding inward. In other words, it adds to the thickness of the watch unnecessarily. And I just don't understand that. So I guess what I want to say is, although it's like 15.3 millimeters thick, it wears way thinner than that because of the way these lugs wrap around and the fact that a lot of that thickness is just glass. Now, look, I'm going to de-sticker it right here in front of you because this is peeling off. As we all know, Clyde has emotional reactions to the peeling of stickers. So I'm going to talk to you just a little bit more about this watch in just one moment. But first, I'd like to say where I got it. I got this from, speaking of exquisite timepieces and exquisitettimepieces.com, and Nick over there. I'll put Nick's email and website and all like that into the description of this video for when it uploads. And they sell Parmigiani and 50 other brands, including Rolex, which they sell used, but they sell the Parmigiani and the Glashütte new. So I might actually put in an inquiry about that. Yeah, about that camera. Like, it's an incredible. I would have to sell something, I think, to buy it, but it's an amazing looking watch.
Well, the thing is, really though, even the Zenith Daytonas are unobtainable. So yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. And I think that, especially on the big double date, though, on that watch, and an annual calendar and a chronograph.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's something else. The date here, the date wheel, it's two separate date wheels on the same level. So it's actually a little bit nicer than the way Lange did their big dates, where the wheels are at different planes or different levels, so you can see a height difference between the two.
And that's on a bracelet, right?
It is, and I'm going to talk to you about that bracelet in just a second after we bang out a couple of these comments. Lyndon has the urge to try something new, and that means something has to go. It's how you fund your addiction. Boy, I sure understand that one. I do, because Clyde, you had a lot of new money. I like to recycle money.
No, actually, I've been getting out of my hype watches. That's what I'm funding.
The hype watches. That's a good name for some of these brands. Hype watches. Anyway, Clyde, what do you think?
I have to get that. I got that from the, from the South Asian Tanzil.
What do you think about flipping a Speedy Pro for a Pelagos? I have an opinion, but what's yours?
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. What do you think, Clyde? Should he do it? Don't do it.
Yes, he should do it. Do it.
Clyde's a contrarian.
Why are you holding on? I'm not a contrarian.
Listen, guys, here's why I say this. Because if you really hunt for Pelagos on eBay or someplace where they'll authenticate it for you, which eBay does now, you should be able to get that watch for around $3,000, $3,500. And these Speedies are going up.
The stock they're becoming more and more popular. I will say that. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to get harder to acquire that watch. So I'm not a big Speedy guy myself, but it's an icon. Don't sell that one.
Here's what I would say, though. I would rather like instead of like an older one, like an 861 or an 1861 or whatever.
You can't sell.
Yeah,
of course you
get a good price and get a modern 3861. It'll look just like the freaking 321. We're talking dot over 90. We're talking applied logo. We're talking modern tolerances, modern engineering. Tight, everything is tight and right.
And if he does that, Clyde, he'll have money left over to buy that Pelagos. So he'll wind up with both, right? Glashütte origami. Germany makes amazing watches, competitive pricing. Glashütte panoramic lunar is a fun price piece for the price. And Lyndon says it's an 1863 sapphire sandwich.
Okay.
So, I don't know about that one.
No, it's a popular watch. But yeah, I'm just.
Someone's talking to Random Rob. Oh, there's Random Rob. Random Rob. I'm mad at you, Random Rob. Every time you review a watch, I got to run out and buy it. I just ordered a particular G-Shock. I'll text you about it later. I actually have to make an entire video called "How G-Shock Tricks Me into Buying Their Watches" because I'm so angry at G-Shock right now. I'm even angrier at G-Shock than Random Rob, who reviews all these damn watches that I end up wanting.
Wait. You're angry at G-Shock and Random Rob is also angry at G-Shock?
No, I'm angry at Random Rob and both of them. I'm angry at everybody right now.
Okay, good. All right.
Which makes me, I'm basically now your twin.
I become your spirit animal now.
That's bingo. Yes, I have gotten a little bit, irritable and irascible. And Random Rob, it's because you review watches and you just make me want them. And you reviewed a particular G-Shock. There's a whole story to be told about that. Random Rob, I will text you about that, and then I'm gonna make a video about it. But I'm gonna tell you first. I blame you for this. And Random Rob says G-Shock is the best. It is, but they trick you into buying too damn many watches. So that's the problem. You know what? This is a question for Clyde because I don't know very much at all about the Speedies and I don't love them. Bruce Williams lent me one and the Sapphire Sandwich, and I recognize it's iconic. It just doesn't move me. So Clyde, what do you think?
You should buy one.
No, well, I'm not good.
Exactly. No. Here's the thing. If it doesn't move you, don't get it. Period. Finito. End of sandwich. End of sandwich. End of story. If you do like it, if it does move you, to me, it's got modern wearability. It's nice and solid, but like old school 321 sensibilities. It's like Omega's homage watch to the original 321.
This is what confuses me, Clyde, is all these different reference numbers. Now, in Rolex, you've got steel, gold, yellow gold, and white gold.
Bullshit. Let's go to Submariner. You have 5513. You have 1680. You have 16800.
They all look, yeah, but they're good watches.
Well, they're all. So the Speedmasters are all quote unquote good watches.
Well, here's the thing though. The Rolex, they made one at a time. How many Speedmasters are they making right now?
Well, they're making gold roll Submariners. They're making two-tone.
Yes, they're yes.
Yachtmaster.
You can tell them apart by the just Yachtmaster is not a Submariner. In Submariner, they're making two. Hold on, they're making exactly two of them out of steel. The Starbucks in the black, Okay, they're making the two-tone with two different dials, black and blue, and then they're making the all gold and black and blue. Okay, it's a lot of watches, isn't it? And then the white gold one, you know. But you could tell them apart by just looking at them. You could tell them apart. These damn Speedmasters all look alike to me. That's the problem.
Well, and if you also include all the fucking all the limited editions, then I would agree with you.
It's just too many. I can tell the Rolexes apart. I just can't tell those damn Speedmasters apart. But that's the problem. Okay, you asked about the bracelet, and I want to talk about the bracelet on this. Bruce Williams reviewed this watch, and he liked it a lot, but he really did not like, and it's just not going to. There we go. He really complained about the polished center links there.
Yeah.
Guys, this watch retails for $12,200, and I'm sure you can get a bit of a discount on it. So you can ask around, or ask my buddy Nick over at exquisitettimepieces.com. But it's an expensive, extremely well built watch, and when I'm dealing with something in that price range, I feel like it should have a little bit of bling. So I am not offended by these polished center links. I'm glad it has them. Also, this bracelet is slightly tapered, and I do love a tapered bracelet. But the real trick is this clasp. Okay. Now, first, it's a heavily milled out clasp. You know what, Clyde? I'm gonna make you disappear for a sec. Okay. You're welcome. The heavily milled out clasp. These look, I still have a sticker on there somewhere. There we go. But what I want you to look at is the 4 screws on every single link, because the end cap on each link comes out. So every link in this bracelet is removable so that you can dial in an exact fit, unlike an oyster bracelet on a Rolex, where only X number of the links are removable. Every single one of them is removable here. So if you have a 1-inch wrist, you can fit this watch, and they're held on with these screws. So just like old Omega bracelets, these right here, what you're seeing here is an end cap. There'll be through bolts and then an end cap, and that is true of every single link. There's a little bit of a little tiny air gap between each link, and that is to avoid trapping heat, pinching skin, sand, or grit, as Tim Massa would say. Of course, you got this incredible movement to look at, but the trick here really is the clasp, okay? Because this logo is actually a button. You can see that it depresses just the tiniest little bit. And let me close it up and show you. When you depress this, you can close and open about a half link's worth. So now it's stuck, it's firm, it's ratcheted in there. If I push this, I can open it that much more. And there is a ratcheting system in there. So honestly, the engineering of this, you can see the ratchets on the inside of that clasp there. There you go, right under my chinny chin chin. Anyway, this makes the Submariner's glide lock system look crude in comparison, because this can be done on the fly while you're wearing the watch.
Yep.
Now, you're not really seeing it in the light, but I can tell you this is a metallic sunburst blue dial, and it's very, very dynamic in the light.
Kind of like sunburst, like the 50 Fathoms.
Or I'll give it credit. The Rolex has a beautiful sunray blue dial on the two-tone Submariner or on the gold, and it's this is every bit as dynamic as that. It's a little bit different in appearance, but it is just as dynamic. And the lume is very, very good. It's blue lume. Yeah. Lasts all night.
How good is the accuracy?
Wow. Oh, I'm glad you asked. I forgot about that. I think they promised.
No, this is what's called supporting you.
Thank you. It's ±2 is what it's rated for. They adjust it in 6 positions. They literally hand run everyone for weeks to just dial them in. And this one is running about plus 1/2 seconds per day. And I hate when watches are slow. I much prefer it when they're just a smidgen fast. And this one is running 1/2 second fast per day, if that, maybe maybe sometimes even a little less than that. So, oh my God. And it's got a 5-day power reserve. So you could take it off for 4 days, put it back on, and you didn't need to put it in the watch winder. So I love that on and off thing. Now the entire dial obviously lights up really nicely with lume, and that triangular pip is it's not raised; it's flush with the ceramic bezel, and it lights up very nicely. If there's anything that's not spectacular, dial spectacular. Hands, spectacular. Accuracy, spectacular. Movement, spectacular. Clasp, spectacular. Bracelet, spectacular. And it's thicker than the Oyster bracelet. If there's anything that is less than spectacular, it would be the bezel action, which is very, very extremely precise. It's just not what I would call fun. See if you can hear it. Tell me if you hear it, Clydesy.
Yeah.
It's I don't know how to describe this. When you turn the Rolex,
It almost sounds like a zipper on tight jeans going up and down.
A little, and it's extremely tight. It's very firm. It's very precise, but it's not so tight that it like hurts your fingers on that generous knurling. And I've gotten some watches where you almost want to grab a dish rag to play with them and loosen them up a little bit. And this isn't like this. Right out of the box, it was perfect. Super precise, super dead bang accurate. However, it's just not fun. Like you twist the Rolex and you get a semi. This one isn't like that. So I would say that
it's not full of clickety goodness.
It's really an emotional reaction that I'm having to it, and I just don't know how to describe it. But I think every one of our 375 viewers that's listening right now will completely understand what I'm talking about. There's just something about some bezels that speak to you where you just get a smile when you play with them. And for me, this is not one of those. Every other aspect of this watch, I absolutely adore. So I'm having a really good time with it.
And right now, okay, yeah, we do have some questions piling up.
Do we? Okay. So, I don't know. Where are we? Point me to a question you'd like to answer.
I'll have to go back in the other room and get my glasses.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll read them to you. The new Omega Aquaterra Small Seconds is on Realfly's radar. So is the Breitling Premier B09 Pistachio dial.
Yeah.
That's a three-hander, I think. I've got the B01 Chronomat, which I like. They've done some nice movements. Bring Don Haynes on? No. Actually, Donnie and I chit-chat on and off all day long.
Yes.
Lots of days.
He usually bounces Matt Stevens like a little bitch, but that's just neither here nor there.
What's really funny is both Matt Stevens and Don Haynes, they're terrific friends of each other and of ours. But they often text me complaining one about the other. And each one says his OCD is impossible. Yep. So
they're so alike that's slightly different. It's like two testicles in a bag.
they have quite the bromance going on. And Clyde, you have a poetic way way. I don't know what that means. Beautiful watch, but bit on the big side. It is. I mean, listen, guys, this is a beautiful wrist. I mean, I would like to give you some wrist porn. That's a beautiful wrist. And here's what makes it so gorgeous. First, look how flat it is. I mean, that is a big, broad, flat wrist area. And it has its advantages. And one of them is that even though I'm only 7 1/4 inches, I can carry off a big watch. The disadvantage of a big, beautiful, flat wrist bone like this is a round wrist is made for wrapping straps right around your wrist. So if you got a chubby round wrist, even if it's the same dimension as mine, you can wear straps. But with this broad, flat wrist bone that I have, straps squeeze me, they don't fit right, and they give me wrist claustrophobia and make me nuts. So I love my wrist. Sometimes I look at it at night, late at night, I just look at my wrist. But I got to say, I'm not built for straps, Clyde, and it's a bit of a disappointment. What do you think, Clydesy? What are they going to discontinue over there at Rolly? What do you think?
Either the Air King or the Milgauss.
Of course, that's been rumored for a while. the rare
Yeah.
king.
I mean,
Certainly, yeah.
Despair King. When someone on another channel got one, that's what everyone was calling it.
Well, you know,
The,
it's funny because that watch is popular. They say it's the dog of the range, but it's popular. I think it's more popular than the Milgauss, wouldn't you say?
well, but then again, okay, like on the other hand, the black dial and white dial OP39 were only around for a short time, and those were very, very popular watches, and they were quickly discontinued in favor of the 41s. And personally, I like the white and the black dial 39s more than even though you probably want the Tiffany dial.
Well, guys, I hate to do this to cut you off so rapidly, but short and sweet is the way we should go. I just realized the time, and I've got a commitment that I'm going to have to go take care of. I especially want to thank the rancher for joining me and not being completely irascible. Clyde, you behaved yourself amazingly. Thank you so much for joining me and talking watches, Clyde. Parting words?
Thanks for having me on, Mark.
It's always a pleasure to Rebel stream with you, sir.
Rebel Wilson stream, sir.
Yes, exactly. Boys, Mark Goldberg, Clyde the Rancher, thanks for joining us. We're going to do this again soon.